So here we go. Starting off the review with me walking into the video of my bathroom. That's always great. Okay. So most people just do like a unboxing and stuff. I'm not really about that, so I'm just gonna voice over this. So here you can see me practicing when I when I first got it. I'd ridden my dad's XR a little bit before because me and him were both gonna get pints, and then he saw the shipping was 2 months out because this was still back a while ago, and he didn't want to deal with that, so he just bought an XR. Now the XR is very different than the pint. On the commercial where the little kid's like, "Is it easy to learn?" Yeah, the XR is very easy to learn. This isn't. This usually takes people a lot more time. So then I think this is where I was just wrecking after wreck, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just go. My driveway's real steep, and I'm like, let's just yeet this, and then I fall off. And so then we cut, and this is 2 months, about not 2 months, about just under a month. I'm just about at 100 miles now. And so I'm like, let's go on a ride. You can see I got pads on and everything because I'm going to be all out balling. Okay, I'm joking. So anyway, so we're going to have some nice smooth GoPro footage here. Because, that's how it is. So the thing about the pint is everybody's like, is it powerful? Is it this? Is that? Yeah, it's pretty powerful. I mean, I weigh 130 pounds, and you see this is a medium steepness hill, and I'm jamming up it no problem. Like it feels the exact same as going on like flat ground. Like there's no like more power draw now than there is before, which is kind of cut out, which is kind of weird because everyone's like a big thing about the pint is that what I'm going to say is it's not for everyone. Let me just put that out there. I meet a lot of people and they're like, hey dude, like, how's it going? And they always want to talk. Now I have the pint sitting right here next to me as I'm doing this voiceover. And the pint's a definite tank. Like it's really beat up. Here's super steep hill. This is way steeper than it looks like it is on camera. This is like insanely steep. The other road's very steep. It's real steep. That's all I'm gonna say. This is very steep. See, I do a little bit of off-roading here. I'm gonna do a lot of off-roading later. And this is really nice. The best off-roading is when you're on like pine needles or something because it's so smooth and quiet. Anyway, so I think I'm gonna wreck here, and this is like the worst wreck I had. So I'm adjusting stuffing, and then the pint just cuts out and noses under. That's so weird. I never had that happen before. So I just hop back on it. You know how you do. Anyway, so I have the pint sitting next to me, and it's still beat up. I think I have 190 miles on it now. And it gets beat up. The bumpers being plastic, excuse my language, but it's absolute BS. Because that's what you're landing on constantly. Like, it's absolutely terrible to have that be plastic. The rails are metal. There's some, I think they're aluminum or something. They still get beat up real easy. Oh, I don't know what the situation with that is. They got big gouges and stuff. I guess I am also very rough on it. The handle, it comes with because this is something I didn't know, it comes with the standard plastic handle. It really kind of cuts into your hand just because the pint's heavy. Don't take any illusions. It's very heavy. I weighed it and it says it was only like 20 pounds, but it feels a lot heavier. It feels a lot heavier than 20 pounds. Maybe I'm just weak. I don't know. Anyway, so the hills, this is where I live, and the hills are stupid steep. Like, this is one of the only flat roads there. So anyway, how it is, I don't know if I have a video of me and my dad with the XR. The pint is not that much smaller than the XR. It's maybe a couple inches in each dimension. It's got the wheel is just an inch bigger on each side. The big difference with the wheel is that it's round. Now my dad cannot ride the Pint. He rides his XR just fine. He's only put like 20 or 30 miles on it, but he cannot ride the Pint. I don't know why that is, but he just can't do it. I guess it's probably because the wheel's round. He just gets on it and he'll just fall flat forward. But the Pint is, in my opinion, is much better than the XR. Let me explain why. So the XR, my dad weighs like 180, which is like 50 pounds more than me. I weigh 130. He's less than 180. I don't know what his exact weight is. But so the deal is I think the Pint's a lot more valuable because it's half the price. The digital shaping on it is pretty garbage, not gonna lie. I'll show you that up here. I think it just has the 4 modes, which I'll read to you really quick. It makes it sound a lot better than it is. Oh, you have to connect your board. Hold on, let me turn it on really quick. Anyway, so I'm gonna go on this off-road trail here. This looks like a real nice gravel road. That's false. It's not really that nice. In terms of the app connecting, I only have a couple problems with it, and if I just turn the Bluetooth off and back on my phone, it works completely fine. So right here, I'm getting out a different mount out of my bag. I think I'm going to put my phone, the Onewheel app. Yeah, I have that up right now. So you can see at that point I only had my Pint connected, and you can see it takes a bit. I had to click it on the app and it says see it's connecting and it's activated. The battery percent is 81%, that says right now. I want to put an annotation up, but you say 81%, it's supposed to go 8 miles, and I don't know how much mileage it said there, but it's less than a mile. That's because it's on the hills. Let me explain. I've gone 6 miles full speed the whole time, about a mile of that off-road. Full speed isn't 14 miles an hour. The real full speed you could ride this at is 14 miles an hour. Because anything above that and you start getting pushed back, and you see I'm jamming right here. It doesn't look like I'm jamming, but I am. I'm just below pushback. Anyway, so on the app, I'll read you each of the descriptions. So there's the first one, which is Redwood. It's the max speed is 12, and it says even the tallest tree starts as a sapling. Step in Redwood and get comfy. Its mellow profile and slower top speed make it easy choice. It's on the playful side of things, and it's on the town side of things. Badass transition, by the way. And the next one is Pacific, which is personally my favorite. I think I'm running Elevated in this video, right? No, this is Pacific. Elevated, you could really tell that the nose is leaned up. On Pacific, it's I won't read the description on all of them because there's a lot, but it's like it's quotes what I call it the buttery one. It's real wide scale. It's real cool. Elevated is really different. Most of the riding modes feel pretty much the same. Elevated is very different. Elevated is where the front of the board is really sticking up a lot. Like, it doesn't look like it, but when you're riding it, you're like, wow. Like, your left knee starts to hurt because it's being stretched and locked the whole time. And then Skyline, I never really used Skyline. It's not that different. It's not that different from Pacific. Pacific is the medium one. There's Redwood, which is like starting Pacific. Then there's I don't remember any of the names. Elevated and then Skyline. But another thing is for on this they always tell you. Yeah, you can see there's my phone. I have the app up. It has active speedometer. You can see it there. Kind of laggy. You can see I've got 105 miles, 1.2 miles on this trip, and it's already down to 77%. 7 miles an hour. You can see I am on Pacific right now. That's the middle one, because Elevated is, I don't count that. It's the same as Pacific. It feels the same. It just has that different tilt, which really changes everything. And then beyond that, most people are always worried about, is it going to break? Because, the Pint's $1,000, and we're going to get into the pricing and stuff later. But so the app isn't that great. As you can see, it's just staying at 8 miles an hour, and I'm not staying at 8. The gray bar is what your max speed is, and you can see it says 7.4, and I was at 8 miles an hour right there. You can see me jamming on this hill. You can see no power issues, and it's just clean, dude. So you could get up close of me riding it. And my dad even says the Pint is better in the dirt than the XR, because the XR the wheel is almost touching the board in the front and the back. In the Pint, that's not true. There's a lot of room. By a lot, I mean like a centimeter to a couple centimeters of room in between the wheel and the board, which is a lot different than the XR. And you can see this is one of the dirt roads kind of near my house. A lot of people ask, like, will it break down because it's so expensive? And something that kind of worried me is, you can see I just went over a dip. It doesn't look that bad there, but it's pretty bad. Something that worried me is last week I was going to school. I take this to school. I take it up to the top of my town, which is like a mile up there and a mile back. And I didn't want to walk that because it's all uphill, and my backpack weighs like 45 pounds with all the books in it. And then I get on the community bus because I don't have my driver's license quite yet, and I go down to the school. And it's great for taking on the bus. Honestly, if you're commuting with it, absolutely 100% support this. Okay, so this road, I met some friendly hunter guys there. You could see them down there. You could see their trucks. I just cut up to the top, and I'm riding it back down now because I talked with them for a while. This is insane. This doesn't look that crazy. It's absolutely insane. Riding this on a bike would be very challenging. The road's all ripped up from loggers and stuff. It's like the big treaded vehicles. You'll see them in a second. So you can see I turn around and I go right back up the hill. No problem. Pretty much for off-roading standpoint. Oh, sorry. Just keep getting distracted. On the price, when I was going to school, like I was saying, after I took off my backpack, I went for another ride because, I'm trying to keep my streak up. And it was definitely like a power loss. Like, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, it did not feel right. And I put it on, I thought it was simple stop. I turned off simple stop, and that fixed it a little bit better. I turned on Skyline, which is the like stupid powerful one, and it still wasn't, like, it was still struggling. And I was like, what the hell? Over time, that's gotten better. I don't know what that was. And that was after I took off my backpack. It was still struggling like that. You can see this road's all ripped up. And this is absolutely insane. I was like full on adrenaline riding up this. Once I got back, I was like, that was crazy. So, and for off-roading, if you can stay on the board, you can pretty much do anything. This sounds crazy, but like, you see I wrecked right there, and I just cut to, you can see how ripped up the road there was for a second right when it cut. And you see I just messed up there just because I bailed. If you notice in all these, I'm bailing. I'm not going where the board can't go anymore. I'm bailing. So if you want to, like, if your goal is an off-roading board, absolutely 100%. One thing that is misleading on the app, it says, what's it called? It says Skyline, which is the most powerful one, is for trailing. That is absolutely false. Skyline is terrible for trailing. Absolute garbage. Even elevated's pretty bad unless you're really conquering some like massive hills. And the truth is that the best one for trailing is probably Pacific or even Redwood if you're going over something big. Because what happens there is this is just like a car. If you're rocking Skyline with all that torque, like insane amount of torque, what happens with the round tire, you get on top of one little piece of gravel and the wheel's just gonna spin out, and it might even throw you off if you're not really paying attention, and because all the force was on that wheel there, or it was on that piece of gravel. You see it once I switched to the head mount, I could really jam a lot faster because I could use my arms for balance. But the thing is it's great. Right when I first got it, I talked for about 10 minutes on how I wouldn't buy the Pint and all this shit, all this stuff, excuse me. And then after I rode it, I realized that was, sorry, I just hit my mic. That was such a false statement. Because I kept comparing it to my $70 off-roading scooter that, you can see I'm struggling to get the video recording up. That shouldn't be on screen in a couple seconds. I'm watching it. I'm in the editor right now, and I'm just voicing over this as I watch it. Yeah, here we go. 3, 2, 1. So you can see we're already down to 56, which is really lame. 3%. The regeneration braking, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. The regenerative braking out passes every standard I would have wished. I'll go down through Miwok. That's kind of by where I live. And it's real steep there. And I just go over there because I did a regeneration test on the board. And I drove over there. And then I went from the top down to the bottom. And I regained 10%. 1/10 of the battery in like under a mile. And this is obviously legal roads. This isn't like stupid steep. That's a real big dip there. You can't see it, but I got through that. You see I just put my arms in there. I'm like, hell yeah. So if you're looking for off-road, the Pint's got it. It's 100% got it. It doesn't have the speed of the XR, and that is something I complain about often. When you first start out, you'll be all worried about hitting pushback. Don't be worried about it. You'll feel it. You'll definitely feel the pushback. The problem is that when you're on it, it feels like it's straight up connected to your brain. Like it's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever ride. Like getting back to what I was saying about my scooter, my $70 Mongoose off-roading scooter is a tire as big as the Pint. It's got spokes. It was probably somewhere in this video. It's badass. I'll ride down through the town I was talking about, Miwok. I'll ride down through that going like 30 or 40 miles an hour. Absolutely just jamming, just foo, like stupid fast. And you can't do that on the Pint, which is real lame. Like you can't really bomb hills. Like unless it's off-roading, you can't bomb hills, which makes me sad. To be honest, that really makes me sad because it eliminates a lot of like that massive adrenaline rush that you get. Now, cause you can see I'm going 10 miles an hour here, 11, which is real fast for off-road. You can't go very fast when you're off-roading. You know, it's not really. I wouldn't say it's not really an off-roading board. But it really isn't. That's what I was saying, is with the XR you have a lot more speed, which you could really jam down hills and stuff like that on. And it's sad that the Pint doesn't have that speed. Oh crap. And it's sad that the Pint doesn't have that speed. But the Pint I would absolutely recommend over the XR. It's still, hold on, let me turn my board off. It's still real hefty. The one thing I would say, just riding my dad's XR, my dad's XR feels exactly the same for the amount of power, which is scary because everybody's selling the XR as just some massive trailing beast, and the Pint's supposed to be like this little bite-sized, real cute bite-sized. No, the Pint feels exactly the same as the XR. The one thing I will say is the Pint feels like a motorcycle, and the XR feels like a truck. Let me explain that. The XR is definitely beefier. You even see it, and it has a beefier look to it. Sorry, I'm putting my phone back together. It has a way beefier feel to it. Like it looks beefier, and when you're riding it, with the tire, the real flat tire that it has, it feels like you're in a car. Where you falling off forward and backwards is not really a thing. And when you're riding it, it feels secure. It feels like you got like a seatbelt on, you know. And the Pint feels like a motorcycle because it's got a round tire. And when you're riding a motorcycle, that's the equivalent of leaning side to side, is the equivalent of leaning toe edge and heel edge, aka forward and backward on the Pint. You can see I'm real jamming. That's my favorite shot. The from the back shot looks so sick. Yeah, you can see it's obviously off-road, and you can see little bits of gravel I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see the wheels spin out or not. But I've got it a lot better too. I'm almost up at 200 miles at the moment. Which is pretty crazy. The other thing, one thing I do have to say is the XR has, how far it's gonna be able to go. And at the moment, there's not that many parts for the Pint. Unless you're gonna go through Onewheel, and Onewheel's part thing is absolutely ridiculous. It's like $145 for like plastic. Like what? Like that's the other thing is people think they mark the boards up so much, and no, I really think the quality is there on this. I can see all $1,000. Most people I meet on the street are like, "Oh, that's so cool, dude. That looks so slick." Like, you get a ton of attention with this. If you're an attention-seeking person and you have low self-esteem, get yourself a Pint, baby. Everyone's gonna think you're just the most badass, bad ace, gotta not cuss, MRFer out there. Like, everyone's just gonna think you're super cool. And they're gonna remember you because it's super unique too. The wooden, whatever you call it, the wooden foot pads on the XR, you could get those for the Pint. I personally, I kind of like it. I like the black the most, how it is, because it looks slick. Like that's what everyone says. And the kids are always super excited. Like, I always see like a big bunch of like construction worker guys or something like that. It's so great. That commercial is so accurate, because like I'll go by there's lots of tree cutting where I live, and I'll go by there, and there'll be just an absolute just load of guys that are like, "Dude, that's so sick," and they're like, hey, and they're like cheering and stuff. And it's I accidentally paused it there, so my recording is gonna be off now. Yeah, and it's super funny because it's so accurate. It's so accurate. And you see, this is such a beautiful like around the thing shot. Yeah, I got my GoPro that I found in River out for this. Doesn't matter. Back onto the Pint. The construction guys always think it's so cool, and then you'll meet like a family of people, and they'll be like, "Yeah, dude," and they'll be like, "Oh, that's so cool," and they're like, "What is it?" Just like little kid in the video, except it's a bunch of people. And is it easy to learn? Instead of that being a little kid, it's a bunch of fat white trash people, because they want to ride your board, and they want to steal it. I've had multiple people already try to steal it. Stealing Onewheels is like a thing. Onewheel HQ, if you're watching this, please put a locking mechanism on it. Like, please, brother. Like, I'm so, especially when I use this at work all the time. Extremely useful at work. When I'm at work, I work at the water company, and I'll just run over to the water company. Like, if we forget something, like we're installing meters right now. If we forget something, I'll just run over. You see a little bit, like back helmet cam. I'll just run over to the water company and grab it. My coworkers love it. At the end of the day, every day, they always have to have a little bit of time where they just ride around and do tricks and stuff. And they both just jumped on it. They're both surfers and boarders, though, but both of them just hopped on it. I don't know what percentage that's at. It looks about like 43. But they just both hopped on it and they just rode it. They were real wobbly and wrecked a couple times at first, but yeah. And it's a lot different than XR. I keep wanting to state that. So that's pretty much about it. Oh, like I was saying, is it sad to see like a family of people and then I'll be like, yeah, and then the kids are gonna want one. That's how I wanted one. I saw one of these back 4 or 5 years ago, and ever since then I've just been really just wanting a Onewheel, and I finally got a job and got the money to get one, and the setup for the computer and the microphone I'm talking to you on. But the kids really want one, and they'll never be able to get it. And everyone I tell that it's $1,000, they're all like, "What?" And I'm like, dude, this is like new technology. Like, this is so badass. Everyone thinks I built it at my house. I haven't said like, yeah, I built it at my house. Like, I haven't done that yet. I always say, yeah, they're built in Santa Cruz, and super cool, and everyone just thinks it's super awesome. I haven't had anyone be like, that's stupid. Well, except for my cousin, but she's an asshole. She's, excuse my language, she's not very grateful and not very encouraging. You see me jamming right here, absolutely flying. You see this is off-roading. That's like the pine needles and stuff I was telling you about. That's about it, you know. You can see the little plug there. It's sad how much they charge for everything, but you know, dude, it's kind of whatever. You can't always get what you want. I'm gonna start building my own stuff. I'm gonna build metal bumper guards because it's pissing me off that all they have is plastic. You see, I just went through someone's little driveway loop there, one of my faves. But absolutely. Now onto the real deal here. I can't say get the Pint or don't get the Pint. The Pint is something different, and Onewheels in general are something different than anything else you'll ever buy. You can't even compare it to a scooter or anything like that. It's just a higher level of transportation. It's absolutely amazing. It's a beautiful thing. I often just take it out just for fun to ride it. Absolutely just beautiful. But the thing is it's $1,000, and if it's something that you really want but you're not going to use every day, don't get it. Me, I read water meters. I walk around my town and read the water meters, and it's like 10 miles of walking. I take this, no walking, can do it in like half the time. It's a great thing. But see, you might not have that. So it's kind of up to everyone. But I would say it's absolutely valid. Now, problems with the Pint. Number one, the rolling issue. It has a round wheel, so watch this. So I just give it a little nudge. This is like if you get off it kind of rough, it'll do this. It'll roll down the hill like that. I don't have audio on here, but the audio really spikes. It's like bam, 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 bam. Problem two, simple stop. Look, what was that? Do you see that? You see how I put my hands out? I was just me going to stop, and so with simple stop, you have to roll back a certain amount for it to actually stop. And I didn't roll back that amount, so then it just freaked out. So it'll spin backwards and it'll spin forwards. Like watch here, I keep my foot to really hold it down. You can see it spins backwards and then respins back forwards. And you see it's on, and I just roll down the hill on it, scraping the back bumper. So it's you can see, here we go again. If it would stop lagging, me rolling down the hill, and then I just stepped off to the side, and you can see I just went sideways. The board's on. The board when it's on, okay, so the board when it's off, it's just like a bearing inside. You can roll it around real easy. But when it's off, it's like that. When it's on, it's a lot harder to move. But you can still do that, and you can see right here, I'm just showing off the turniness, because this is way better than the XR. The XR struggles at turning. You could definitely turn, and the maneuverability on it is absolutely insane. I would 100% ride this around at my house. 100%. The amount of control you have is like nothing else. Like you often watch people. Oh, you see how it moved right there? It just moved by itself, and when I just put my foot on it. So now I'm like pushing down on it to see if it'll do it again. There's a lot of glitches it has. That's one problem I have with it. Is simple stop's just flawed, dude. They need to fix that. And when you first ride with simple stop, it is very hard to use. And you can see but the thing is that it always falls sideways, and it really beats up your rails. The XR doesn't do that because the XR is more flat. But another thing is as you're riding, it's complete bliss. Like it's insane. Oh yeah, right here I'm showing the so when you jump off and you leave your front foot that's on the foot pad sensor on the board, watch, it'll keep going. Like when I hop off, it keeps moving forward. And I showed this multiple times because this is something very annoying that happens every time. When I don't have simple stop on, or the raising the heel up thing is so annoying. And it's powered when it's moving forward. Like if I'm not hopping with it, it's really gonna hurt. Which is pretty annoying. And you can see the simple stop's all messed up. Where as you're rolling back, it'll roll forward again, and it really messes up your balance. Once you're used to it, you can do it easy peasy. But starting, it's pretty hard. And especially when you're stopping fast with simple stop, which you think you won't be doing, you'll be doing it. And you can see I'm wobbling with it to try to get see if I could stay in one spot. Staying in one spot's also very, very hard on the Pint. It's just like a motorcycle. It's a round tire, very hard to balance. With the XR, you can stay in one spot like you're standing there, a lot easier. And then the other problem is the app. The app, if you just turn off your Bluetooth and turn it back on, it'll be a lot better. So you can see I'm still on Pacific. I'm turning off simple stop here to so I could show you this. So what my coworkers always do is they always bend down and grab the handle on the Pint, the mag handle, bro. Pretty annoying. I was showing it off in this video though, because it's also the amount of balance. Like once you start to get it, you can really get it. You can see I've gone around turns where I'll do a circle and my front edge of the board will be on the ground the entire time I'm doing the circle. Because when you're really leaning forward like that, it doesn't accelerate when you're turning. I don't know how they program that, but it's really good that it doesn't. Because if it accelerated super fast when I was turning really small, I would just be gone. It's super powerful. See, I thought when my dad's XR was arriving, and I thought I was just gonna be able to hop on it and ride it. It comes, and I realize it's not a toy. This is something really this is something that you could really hurt yourself on. This is something that's not a toy. This is a mode of transportation. It's something fun to use, but it's really something serious. And I'm glad that I waited until I was this old to be able to get one. I would say the youngest would be 9. But don't just go out and get your kids a Onewheel. They have to earn it. If they're just going to get it, they're just going to trash it. And it's very easy to trash because it's so powerful. And if you're really riding the hell out of it, it's going to get trashed. That's just how it is. But anyway, so final thoughts. Yeah, it's worth it. I think the $1,000 is there. You can't really pay for good times, but you can pay for things that get you good times, and this is one of them. And you can see I'm taking real sharp turns here. If it's commuting to work, absolutely. I've gone 6 miles. I think I said this before. I don't know if I haven't. Let me say it now. I went down to 50% and went 6 miles, which is insane. Because that's way over the limit. That'd mean I'd be able to go 12. I am super light though also. This shot's where I just put the GoPro on the front of the board, or just set it there kind of with the selfie stick, and just rode around with it. You can see how smooth it is. It's really shaking, kind of. Not the best, but the Pint's ultra smooth. I don't notice any power difference. My coworkers, they're not real big dudes, but they ride it fine. Yeah, I think it's 100% worth it, but that doesn't mean you should get it. You can see I'm switching back and forth here, because since the tire's round, you're really on like a pivotal surface, so like a point in the middle, so you could really spin it. So I hope you enjoyed this, and that's it. Onewheel Pint.